Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and I know long time no see, but it was raining incessantly since the past 2 weeks and there was not enough natural light for me to record anything. That's why I couldn't upload a single video. But now the sun is out and I'm feeling so excited to talk about all the books that are sitting in front of me right now. So yeah, without any further delay, let's get started with this video. So you have already read the caption of the video and you know what the books are going to be all about. But to give you a little heads up, these books are not necessarily about feminism as a concept, but these books talk about women and their greatness in much detail. Alright, so the first book that I want to talk about in this video is Mothers, written by Jacqueline Rose. This book is an essay on love and cruelty. This book basically talks about women in the role of a mother and what it feels like to be a mother in this society. So we already know that this society demands a lot of sacrifices from a woman when she enters the world of motherhood. Honestly, ever since I read this book, I wanted to talk about this book so much because this book gets really disturbing and it makes you very uncomfortable. And I am a girl, I am a woman, I belong to this community, and even then I was feeling very uncomfortable when I was reading this book. This book makes you uncomfortable because this presents in front of you those minute things that you do to your mother without even thinking. And when I read it, I was absolutely stunned because yes, even I was guilty of doing all those things. This book presents in front of you the way you treat your mother, the treatment you are giving to your mother and how wrong it can be. And when you read it, you realize all of it, and that's why this book is so important, because realization is everything. Until and unless you realize what you're doing wrong, how will you ever correct it, right? You can be a person who talks about feminism 24/7 and still you are doing all these wrongs to your mother, you know. When you read the book, you realize what are those things that you are doing. And that's why it makes you very uncomfortable, because finally you start seeing yourself under the same light where you have been seeing all those other people who treat women like shit. That's why, in my opinion, I think this book is a breakthrough, because it makes you uncomfortable. It disturbs you so much so that you go ahead and actually right those wrongs that you have been doing. And that's exactly the point of this book. Next up, I have The Equality Illusion by Kat Benyard. It's basically the truth about women and men today. Now, this book is built around interviews with over 100 women and girls. So this book is not an outcome of a single person's opinions and perspectives regarding feminism and women in the society. This book presents in front of you real data, real ideas and real opinions of real women from this real world. So this book is definitely about feminism. You are going to find the word feminism a lot of times in this book, and if you're someone who really wants to learn more about feminism, you should definitely read this book. Now, feminism is of course about equality, about providing equal opportunities to women and men irrespective of everything. That's what feminism is about in a nutshell. Honestly, feminism is very different for different classes and it is not that inclusive today. Whatever little feminism that we read about on internet comes from those women who belong to privileged classes, who have a privileged lifestyle. And we do not really get to read a lot about minorities and underprivileged women these days. What about tribal women? What are their stories? How are they treated in their tribal societies? How does their community treat them? What are their stories? What do they need? We never really get to know about all these women, and even other classes that are deprived of basic amenities. What about those women? So feminism is a wide spectrum. We cannot really just boil it down to one thing. Yes, we need equality. That is the greatest point of the entire concept. But there are so many little things that are there that we still don't talk about. That's why you need to read more and more about feminism to be more aware, to understand it to its zenith. So just to give you an example, there have been articles doing rounds on internet about how women are not provided with enough pockets in their clothing. And that makes sense. What is this idea of not providing women with pocket? What do they want to tell us? That we don't have enough money or enough stuff to actually keep in our pockets? Why do men get so many pockets? Is it because they think that they get to keep the money in their pockets? It's just an idea, and yes, it stems from this idea that yeah, women do not have a lot of money to keep in their pockets and that's why they don't need them. But we need it, you know. And women get really excited when they get pockets in their clothes. So women all around the globe have been asking brands to bring out clothes with more pockets, and because we also have money to keep in our pockets, right? And yeah, that is pretty metaphorical. Also, you must have read about pink tax. If you have not, you should read about it on Google. It does make a lot of sense. But all of these things are directly and primarily connected to privileged classes women, women who have a privileged lifestyle. Women who come from underprivileged backgrounds don't have these issues. They do not care about having pockets in their jeans because they do not even get enough clothes, you know. Their lifestyle is very, very underprivileged, and we do not include them in our feminism. Our feminism is not as inclusive as it should be, because we don't just have one type of women in our society. There are different type of women who come from different backgrounds, from different communities, with different traditions and different kind of exploitation. So we need to make feminism more inclusive, and for that we need to learn more about feminism and women. That's why you need to read about these books. That's why you need to read about books like The Equality Illusion, because it tells you real stories by real women through interviews and with real data. Next up, I have Jasmine Days by Benjamin. I already have a review of this book on my channel, but I still wanted to include this in this video. So if you read Middle Eastern news, then you will know that most of the cities and countries in the Middle East are going through a revolution and are really suffering a lot from violence and war. And there are different reasons for all those revolutions, but yes, that's happening. And that is basically the background of this book and the story of this book. So Samira, the protagonist of the book, is stuck in this city where revolution breaks out, and what will she do next? Her courage and bravery is absolutely unprecedented. Like, I don't even have words. And that is why this book is so important for us to read, because it's very rare when I find a book where a woman is portrayed as a heroine, you know. There is no other man who has come here to rescue her. Even though she was stuck in such bad situation, not even for a second I felt like she was acting like a damsel in distress. We always get to read about men being heroes in such circumstances in a very unrealistic manner. So in this book, Samira is not out on the road with her sword fighting or battling, but she has this freedom of her mind that allows her to think beyond what everyone is feeding her mind with. So if you want to read something like that, you should definitely check this book. I also have a review and I'll link that in the description down below. Next up, I have Little Women, and you must have already read this book, or you must already know about this book. It's a classic, and a movie is also going to come out really soon on this book, and I am really excited. There is Emma Watson in that book, and I just cannot wait to watch her. Now, I don't think that this book was written from the perspective of feminism or to make a point regarding feminism, but irrespective of all that, this book still makes a really great impact on you, and this book tells you stories of women. That is the point, right? That is what we need. We need more stories about women written by women, and that is why I have included this book in this list. So if you have read this book before, read this again, now from the perspective of feminism or from the perspective of reading a story about women. How can I talk about women and not include Becoming by Michelle Obama? Honestly, this book is just so inspiring on so many different levels. I just cannot even express it in words, because it's not possible to do justice with the kind of book that this is, and I'm absolutely fumbling because honestly I just look up to her so much. She is such an inspiration for me. I wouldn't call her my role model, because my role model is my own higher self. It's my own version that I want to achieve, which is so great and more kind and just more successful, that has a great identity and personality. So I want to be my better version. That's my role model. But I think what Michelle Obama does with this book is that she not only shares her story of becoming herself, she presents in front of you a map of how you can also become what you want to be, how you can become a greater woman, how you can become a greater version of yourself. The thing is that girls and women who live in urban areas, who live in cities, we see a very different landscape. We see women going out, we see them working. It's very different. We can see that yes, women can go out, work and have their own identity. But girls who live in small villages, in small cities, where the landscape is very different, where women are treated in a very different manner, where things are still very old fashioned, for those girls, how will they realize that they can become so much more than the society tells us that they can? And that is why these books are so important. Just imagine a girl sitting in a small city reading about Michelle Obama and reading this book. Just imagine the spark that will ignite inside her. And I think that is the purpose of all these books, because this book is not just about the becoming of Michelle Obama. It's so much more. It's about how we can become greater, how we can achieve everything. It's about our own dignity, our own identity. Alright guys, so that was all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, then do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you are updated with all the notifications, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.